We're always cold.
That's true.
All right, want to get the joint meeting of the Franklin School Board and the Franklin Common Council, our annual meeting. And I'm going to do a roll call for the Franklin City Council, but I'll let first Mr. Andy Lamb take care of the school board.
Yeah, Brian Wirtz.
Here.
Mrs. Nelson.
Here.
Mrs. Ott.
Here.
And Andy Lamb's here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shuck,
Here.
Mrs. Nally,
Here.
Mr. Prine,
Here.
Ms. McGinnis,
Here.
Mr. Taylor,
Here.
Ms. Price,
Here.
and Ken Austin's present. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Shuck, could you lead us in the invocation, please?
Absolutely. Please bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We get to get together with the school corporation, and it's been a great collaboration between the two, and we just ask that you bless that, continue to bless that, and we ask that you keep the city of Franklin in the prayers and safe and continued growth. In your name we pray. Amen.
Stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So it looks like we have some new business, and first on the agenda is a city council discussion with the Franklin Mayor's Youth Leadership Council. Marnie Moore.
Hello, my name's Marnie Moore. I'm the president of the Franklin Mayor's Youth Leadership Council. Thank you for having us. Tonight we are going to be talking about our plans for this upcoming year. So again, I'm Marnie, I'm the president, I'm a junior.
Hi, I'm Taylor Trueblood. I'm the vice president. I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Reagan Hunter, I'm the secretary and I'm a junior.
Hello, my name is Willa Thomas, and I'm working the communications chair, and I'm a junior.
And we're also joined by Addie Jeffrey, Ben Warland, Taylor Hedger, and Ella McGinnis, who are also council members.
So this past year, you can skip to the next slide. Thank you. This past year, we had a few projects. We started the year off by working with NASA, and we applied for a moon tree. And basically, it was like a sapling that took a trip to outer space. And we actually got the moon tree, and it's planted at our cross-country course at Franklin. Our main project was our electrical vehicle charger, and we worked with Duke Energy, and I'm sure you've probably seen it if you've been down at the amphitheater. It's installed down there. And some other small side things that we did is we had a baked goods stand at the winter market, and we also had a water boost stand during the solar eclipse weekend, and we also recycled solar eclipse glasses.
And then our main project this year that we hope to pursue is installing lights at the Youngs Creek Amphitheater pickleball courts. So we wanted to pursue this project because we've had a lot of interest from club members and then also people in the community, specifically Mr. Shuck, I think, really liked the idea.
Donation.
Donation.
And
pressure.
we thought this would be a great project because it would benefit people of all ages, including, kids our age. And so this project is going to take quite a while, but we hope to be done by the end of the school year, so by May. Next slide, please. Thank you. So obviously this is a pretty big project, which means it comes with a pretty big budget. But its original estimated cost was around $150,000 because it's a very specific type of sports light. But we're very grateful because Houston Electric has agreed to donate all of the electrical work as well as manage the project. So right now we're in discussion with Houston Electric, city engineer, Parks and Rec, and then Mrs. Payne and the mayor also talking and collaborating, but at some point we'll need to fundraise and then also apply for grants. Speaking of fundraising,
So we just had a pickleball tournament September 15th to raise money for this,
and it was very successful and very fun for everyone involved. It was at the Franklin Amphitheater pickleball courts. As a total, we raised $857, and we had a total involvement of 26 teams between an adult 18 and up bracket and an 18 and under bracket.
And then we have been working on a few other projects. We've been thinking about doing a community event. One of our members, Liz Woods, came up with an idea of food for thought, which would be somewhere where members of the community could come and talk about their ideas for Franklin, and maybe we could have a barbecue. And then we've also been working to have some more team bonding with our club. Our biggest idea was a haunted trail for our club to attend during this October. And then we plan on continuing our park beautification project throughout the parks here in Franklin. Thank you for having us today, and does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys keep it up the great work you're doing. Next on the agenda is Mr. Barnett with a city update.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and I just want to thank Franklin City Council, Franklin School Board. I believe we're still the only, Dr. Clendenning, we're still the only community that does this in the whole state of Indiana, and I think it's pretty special, and it says a lot about our community, how we all try to work together. But I'll try to give you some community updates on what have we been doing this year. I mean, you've seen the roads closed with the roundabout at Earlywood and Graham, and now we have Graham and Paul Hand Road is closed, so we'll get past the roads. Outside of Graham Road that should have already been done. Matter of fact, the roundabout should have been done. Duke Energy, I'll just say it in public, Duke Energy's held the project up. All three of those should have been done. And I actually had a snack yesterday with Jean Rank, who works at Duke Energy, and she's pretty much aware of my feelings on that. But anyway, we got those road projects there that we'd like to. We hope to have them done by the end of November, around Thanksgiving. They should be all opened up and back in place. But quality of life stuff this year, we got our sidewalk project done on Jefferson Street, which that's about a $1.2 million project, and we got a $1.1 million grant from the state to do that. So it took us 5 years to get that project from the time we started talking about it, getting the grants, trying to bid it out so we can get proper bids, and that was still a little bit high, but the state, they come up with some more funds to make that happen. So really glad to hook that community up to our trail system and just get it hooked up to our downtown. I think that's a big asset. Also, our active adult center, it's under construction. We're looking for it to be done sometime midsummer, maybe sooner. So that's going pretty well. We got our fire station. I know our fireman chief here, he's ready to move in. Should be within a week or two. We should be able to, they're having I think it's a final walkthrough tomorrow to see where we're at, and hopefully within a week or so we're ready to move in there. We'll go on to talk about housing projects. Now, I know you guys seen the study that you did for students, and Dr. Clendenning come and did that for our city council. It seems like no matter what we do with subdivisions, it's still not enough to help with the population of your school for students to go there. But if you've been out on Hurricane Road, you see that subdivision, Winterfield, that's under construction. That's about 300 homes. On 31, we have that subdivision. It's about 200 homes. The Cumberlands out there at the Commons, we've been building homes, and it's still got about 50, 60 lots left. Bluffs at Youngs Creek, they're getting ready to start another section of that. So I think in the housing part of it, the range from the pricing is from $250 to, like Hillview, I've heard of a home there about $850,000. So we have a big range of pricing for homes. I was talking to somebody today, and they was talking about a $150,000 home to be affordable. I hate to say this, folks, but I don't think you're going to find a $150,000 home anywhere. Even a trailer today, you go buy a new trailer, put it on a lot, it's $150,000 just for the trailer. So there's what's affordable housing? That's a whole nother discussion because I've been mayor for almost 8 years. I still haven't figured out what's affordable housing, and nobody's ever been able to tell me what is affordable housing. So we're trying to do our best and get a lot of different ranges. I know we're working on, with our Franklin Development Corporation, that we've had in some of our older neighborhoods, some homes that's been abandoned. We've tried to go buy those homes through the FDC and remodel those and get them back on the tax rolls. That's went really, really well. I think we're up to about 5 houses now. Try to do 1 a year, maybe 2 if we can find the right one. But you take the worst house in the neighborhood and you start fixing it up, and then before you know it, their neighbor's doing something, then their neighbor's doing something. And to go along with that as a city, we feel like if we go pave the roads and we go pave the alleys and we go fix the sidewalks, that also gives people an incentive to go take better care of their property in the older neighborhoods that we're trying to get them up where they need to be. But I think our people's done a good job there. Let's see, what next year's projects, we're looking at Paul Hand Road to actually be shut down next year, and we have Malarkey Roofing. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that's they're going to invest $200,000 $200 million in a new facility on Paul Hand Road with a manufacturing project, $20 an hour start out jobs, and so we look for that to be a good partner for our community. But yeah, that's where we're at on that. And then on Paul Hand Road, and then also in the next, in 26, we're going to be widening out Graham Road. We got a ditch to move there on Graham Road, and when we move that ditch, that costs more than actually building the road. So working with DNR, we're going to work with the county. And also I want to point this out too. I like to collaborate with a lot of different folks to make things happen, and that's what makes our city better than most, because we're not too good to go collaborate with our partners. So with the Paul Hand and Graham roundabout, we split that 3 ways with the city of Franklin, Whiteland, and Johnson County. And that's kind of a project I'm pretty proud of because we got the county involved. And a lot of people say the county's not going to help. Well, the county's been pretty open-minded for the city of Franklin to work with. I know on Simon Road, we'd like to talk to the county about how do we work together to get Simon Road widened out. And we did we have talked to the people on the property, and there's no right-of-way there. And that's why the county at this time has not went in and widened that road out. Just so everybody knows, it's not that they don't want to do that. That's not a city road, it's a county road, but they can't get to right-of-way. If you just go put new pavement down, that really doesn't help what the problem is. So that's why we haven't done that yet. Pretty proud of our Mayor's Youth Council. I was going to say that first, but I think they've done a lot for our community, and I think that they get involved in a lot of different stuff. And I'm not going to go over everything they've done the last several years, but they've been a pleasure to work with. They give back to our community, and I think it goes back to the education they get in the school corporation to be community partners and to help with all that. So I probably left out something. I didn't prepare anything in writing, but anybody got any questions for me? I'm here. I'll take the hard ones along with the easy ones. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Before I turn it over to the school corporation, I wanted to ask the city council if you had any comments or any input, any thoughts?
Good.
Okay, with that said, we'll turn it over to the Franklin Community School group discussion.
Yeah, thank you. We've got 4 items to share with you tonight. So I think Dr. Worland, you're up first for our iRead scores.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. I believe there is a presentation attached, maybe. Oh, thank you. Hi, Tara. It's okay. So literacy, iRead, retention, how many of you are hearing those words in your schools, your homes, maybe if you have children in elementary or grandchildren in elementary, siblings in elementary? We're talking a lot right now about literacy. Some new legislation just came down from the state, which is motivating a lot of those conversations. The state's data tells us that if students are not reading by the end of 3rd grade, they are 35% less likely to graduate from high school. So it's important. Reading is important. So the first thing we wanted to cover is, what is iRead? And when you look at the slide presentation, it says iRead 3. And I just told a principal today, I need to remove the 3 because the conversations now are, it's really an assessment of K1, 2, 3, kindergarten through 3rd grade, and really thinking about foundational reading. As many of you probably know, we've changed the way we do reading instruction over the course of the last year and a quarter. So iRead, when you see that acronym, it means the Indiana Reading Evaluation and Determination Assessment. It is a state assessment on early literacy, foundational reading. It's administered now to all 2nd and 3rd grade students. We've piloted 2nd grade the last 2 years across the state. Franklin schools participated in that pilot. It is now in the statute. So all 2nd graders and 3rd graders will participate in that assessment. It is formative for 2nd grade. So what I mean by that is it helps us learn more about the kids. It helps us determine instruction. It is not a high-stakes test for 2nd grade. 3rd grade, it is. So for 2nd grade, we're told this student is at risk, or this student is right on track, or this student has passed. So we range across our 5 elementaries in 2nd grade from 43% of students in 2nd grade in some of our buildings passing to about 78. So we do have 2nd grade students that will take the assessment and complete that assessment in 2nd grade. 3rd grade, it's high stakes, it's summative. Senate Enrolled Act 1 is the new legislation that just went into effect that tells Indiana school districts if students do not pass that assessment by the end of 3rd grade, that they will be retained. There are some exemptions written into the statute. I'm not going to go into that level of detail, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them. The state goal, so in the state of Indiana, by 2027, average across the state is looking for 95% passing. So our goals within the district, and I'll talk about our numbers in a minute, we are hoping, planning, we have initiatives in place, Julie's gonna talk about those in a minute, to achieve 85% average by the end of this school year, 90% by 26, to hit the state goal of 95% by 2027. So our data right now, here are the numbers. The state average is 82.5%. Remember, they have that goal, 95% by 2027. We are at 83.8%, and then you will see our 5 elementaries listed there. We had 100% at Union Elementary. They were recently recognized at the State House and celebrated. Dr. Clendenning was with them last week. Next slide, please. So gold medal moments. We're celebrating a gold medal mindset this year. It's really our theme for the year, playing off of the Olympics that started the year. Our district average is better than the state average, so we're gonna celebrate that. Union Elementary, I just mentioned, huge celebration. We experienced growth in 3 of our elementary schools, working on that number, but super excited about seeing student growth. And our average across the district is better than it was last year. So we continue to see that average increase. So that's a celebration for us. There are some bullets listed here of things we are doing. I should have been more careful with my acronyms. In education, we like all these acronyms. But I am going to briefly cover a few of these. Then I really would like to let Mrs. Rowan come up and talk about what our literacy cadre is and what they're seeing and doing. You may have heard that term floating around. It's mentioned a lot by the state and a lot by our district, so I want to celebrate that and let her share that with you. I can tell you I learned Checkpoints pilot. Franklin schools signed up to participate in the pilot. The iLearn assessment, okay, quick quiz. How many times a year do we take iLearn in grades 3 through 8? Does anybody know? Say it loud and proud, Taylor. Once. One time. That just changed. Again, in the statute, we are participating in the pilot this year, but starting next year, There will be formative assessments 3 times a year, with the summative 1 time a year as we've traditionally done. So we are in the middle of participating in that state pilot as well. We just opened that window at Franklin Schools today. So I don't know yet how it's going, but we just started that work. We've been doing a lot of work through the cadre, as Julie will share, but it has tied in considerably to our work in our Title I programs. 4 of our elementaries are considered Title I buildings. They are buildings with our highest socioeconomic need, and those buildings have programs developed with additional staff to really help us focus intentionally on some of those literacy skills. We've made some changes to that programming over the course of the last year and a quarter, year and 9 weeks, to really improve our services based upon student data. And we're using new tools to really find what those gaps are and get to that lowest skill. Many of you know we are a PLC district. We focus heavily on professional learning communities. We have adapted, improved our PD around those professional opportunities for our staff to ensure that we're focusing on data and really looking at how we grow our students. All right, Julie, I'm going to let you come forward at this point.
Hello. As Dr. Worland said, I'm Julie Rowan, and I am the literacy coach at Creekside Elementary. This began my 27th year as a teacher at Creekside, so I'm very fortunate to have spent all of my career, and hopefully will keep my career at Creekside until I retire. So I am one of 5 literacy coaches. We are fortunate enough last year to join the literacy cadre. We are in cohort 2. There is a 3rd cohort now this year. So we have been partnered with Marian University. Last summer, the 5 of us, there's 1 of us in each elementary, the 5 of us spent a week at Marian University learning lots, everything that has to do with the science of reading, research, how the brain learns to read, and then how to bring that into our schools. Last year for our staff was a big year for developing their knowledge. The way that we learned as teachers years ago, and even just 5 years ago in college, is different. We're learning new things. There's new research out there. Actually, it's not new. It's 40, 50 years old. It's just now beginning to become implemented. So we're very fortunate to have the literacy cadre behind us. It would be hard to do this work without them. The 5 of us, in addition to last year, all summer, we spend a week or every other week, an hour and a half with our literacy cadre online, getting more professional development. And then we have our reading coach, our LTSS. She's our support from Marian. We meet with her about once a month. So lots of knowledge building. We've learned lots. Last year, we, as I said, in turn, shared that knowledge with our teachers. This year is a big implementation year. So everything that our teachers were learning last year, they're now putting into work in their classrooms, and I think we're seeing the benefits. We're fortunate in Franklin because we were already ahead of the game. Starting in 2020, a lot of our teachers were trained in the Orton-Gillingham structured literacy approach, and a lot of those teachers in K1 and 2 began using that in their classroom for phonics instruction and phonemic awareness instruction. We've had some testing that we've already been doing for the past several of years, and we didn't know it, but we were, like I said, ahead of the game. There are a lot of schools in Indiana who did not have those things in place, so that's great. However, we still have work to do. As Dr. Worland mentioned, one of the things that we're doing is kind of changing what our Title I interventions look like. Instead of just students who are struggling, we're really using all of our staff, our classroom teachers, our classroom assistants, our Title I assistants, our SPED teachers and assistants, and even our specials teachers are getting involved. Those who teach art and music and PE, we're training them to be able to help the students based on skill need. So instead of waiting for students to fail, we're really meeting them where they're at so that we can continue to accelerate them and get them up to that 95% passing rate in iRead. Any questions? There you go. Unlike the mayor, I only take the easy questions.
What are the 5 elements of literacy?
All right, so the 5 elements of literacy are phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. And so they're all intertwined, and I could have brought a presentation, and I could have given you a big presentation about how the brain learns to read, but I won't bore you with that today.
Any
All right.
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next topic we have is Mr. Sprout on cybersecurity.
Hello, Matt Sprout, Director of Technology for Franklin Community Schools, and I also get to collaborate with the city on their technology needs. It's really been a great partnership, and it really comes around to cybersecurity and all that we're able to do there. Cybersecurity is an ever-moving target. Once you feel like you have a solution that they're attacking from another front. Most recently was CrowdStrike. You may have heard CrowdStrike in the news. Yes, the city and the school district, we weathered the storm, as did many. CrowdStrike had an issue that took down a number of devices, and they've worked through it. We have implemented CrowdStrike as our endpoint detection, and just a quick vernacular definition on that. It's ultimately the software that resides on your PC to protect it. CrowdStrike their CEO announced at their most recent conference that both Rick and Dustin were able to attend. Part of the collaboration with CrowdStrike is they allowed us to attend at no cost. So that was a great opportunity that both the city and the school district got to take advantage of. And to my knowledge, we are the only ones here in Franklin that were offered that. So in 2023, if a bad actor tried to take on a network, in 79 minutes, they were on the network. 2024, with the tools they have, it is now the average is down to 62 minutes with the fastest recorded time of a bad actor getting onto a network in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. I like to say that I'm very responsive, but it'd take me 2 minutes to get my phone out and text. I don't know that I can respond to a bad actor that quickly. And that's where CrowdStrike comes in. We install this on all of our PCs and our servers, and that's ultimately what keeps the bad guys away, the bad actors. They monitor our network. They have permission to take action on our network so that if they sense something going on, they can take action on the city's part or the school district's part on doing that. It is an ever-moving target. Artificial intelligence, which I'm sure you've heard, that's a tool for IT. It's also a tool for bad actors. So that's an ever-going tug of war. The school district, as with the city, we're looking at certificates, right? There's something called zero trust, where we don't trust the device and we don't trust the user until you prove who you are, and then you get access to all the information. We're looking at implementing that at the school district and then moving on from there. As per the AI, we continue to use both at the city and the school district a dark trace, and ultimately that's using artificial intelligence to monitor our network for bad actors doing horrible things to our network. So we work collaboratively to continue to do that. We're excited about the opportunities that it provides both the school district and the city, specifically most highlighted recently about the CrowdStrike. This was also funded by the state of Indiana. So for this newer application that is more advanced than what our previous application was, it comes to no cost to the city or the school district. So it's a great opportunity for us. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, next up we'll have Mr. Betts or Dr. Clendenning on the
We're going to
Earlywood.
tag team this one.
Okay.
I'm going to start off by just kind of give a quick overview of Earlywood. As you remember, 50 years ago, we joined a collaborative effort with all of Johnson County schools to create Earlywood Special Services in Johnson County schools. After 50 years, it was decided 2 years ago that we would all take back our own special education programming, and therefore, we would no longer have Earlywood in existence. Well, as you know, Earlywood sits in Franklin Schools property. And with regard to how the world works, if we choose not to enter into an agreement for that property, then universities or private schools could have taken that for $1. Well, for us, we saw a specific need in our community, and that was with the preschool center. So we bought out the remaining partners of Earlywood late last spring, and with the thought that we're going to bring a preschool center to that existing property. And so over the last several months, Mr. Betts and Schmidt and Associates have been working together to kind of create the conceptual journey for this. We did find a few snags. One of them, Mr. Young helped us with. Over the past years, that area was rezoned to industrial for whatever reason. We were still a school there. We didn't leave, but we do not need it to be industrial. So over the next several months, Mr. Young will be helping us take that back to institutional in the rezoning effort. So you may hear more about that in that space for us. But we need it to be institutional as we think in terms of long-term for our Franklin schools. So with that, I'm going to have Benji talk to us a little bit about the next phase and where we're headed, and then we'll come back and answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Clendenning. Real quickly, as he said, we've been working with Schmidt Architects. We've set up a committee and gone through this journey and trying to move this along as quickly as we can. But as he said, we've hit some snags along the way. And again, I'd like to thank Roger and his help as well in getting us through some of those. We have a committee set up that has staff members, administrators, Schmidt Architects, then we have parents involved that have pre-K kids that are helping us look at that design. So we've been going through design meetings every 2 weeks with Schmidt Architects and myself leading those with our staff, working on what that design looks like. How can we take that plot of land and turn it into a great pre-K center for our community? We're going to continue down that path until we can come up with the correct way of doing it, working with Roger. And in the meantime, during that, we're going to work on bringing down that building, which we are continually doing, trying to get utilities shut off, and then working on tearing that down in late fall, early winter, so that we can start or finish up the design process and then hopefully start construction back up in March, I believe, late March, early April of 25. Any questions?
Presently, the building is going to have around 300 preschoolers. We're doing a joint partnership also. We anticipate to have about 100 of those students that are developmental and delayed preschool program, which they're already with us, but they're in several different buildings. And then we're also going to have a paid preschool section for ages 3, 4, and 5. Additionally, we are looking at a transitional kindergarten class for those students that need that extra year before they migrate into one of our 5 buildings. As Brooke talked about with our third graders, potential to be retained if they cannot read and pass the iRead test. This is one more intervention step along the way that we feel is a needed part of our community and where our kids are. So we're excited about the possibilities. Katie Smith and Chloe Limbach are the 2 principals that are tag teaming on this right now. But that's where we're headed. It's like Benji said, demolition is going to start this month as we look to take that down and where we're headed. Right now, the obstacle is getting the deed and making sure that people realize it is our property and it's not Early Woods. And Roger's helped us with that. And I think we should be good to go on that here in the next few days. So are there any questions that you might have?
We got a question over here.
Would that be moving the preschools that are already in some of the buildings in Creekside? Would that be moving them from that to the building?
Yep. Now, great question. We're going to move all the kids to a central location. And so if you're a preschool at Creekside or at Needham or Webb, you're going to move to this new property. Yep.
You might have already, or somebody might have already said this, but are we the first in the state maybe to do this, or are there other school corporations that have done this? Or?
A lot of, by law, you have to have a developmental preschool program. Most of the after school and before school cares are private. I don't know anybody that's brought it together. Maybe some Indianapolis schools may have some. I know MSD Wayne has a very big preschool program. Are you familiar with any other paid programs that married under one building?
Washington, is there some?
I don't know. There may be a couple, but not many.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're excited. Schmidt has created a couple of opportunities. If you've been to Shelbyville, they transformed the Marsh store into their preschool facility and also admin building. It looks very good. That's the architectural firm we partner with. And then up on the north side, they add on to the H.D. Evans Administration Building for Washington Township, and they have about 200 students that go there. So we're excited about it it's definitely a need. We need to make sure our kids are ready to come into kindergarten class. Kindergarten today is not the kindergarten that I knew, and it's not the kindergarten that they knew in the Mayor's Youth Council. It really has changed a lot. And so we're excited to where we're headed, and I think it's just going to be one more thing that's going to make us unique and special. The next one, I wish we didn't have to talk about. But it really is something that's on our hearts and at the forefront of what's happening. And I want to publicly thank Chief Cochran and his team. They have put in many hours over the last month, helping us run down rumors, accusations, and unfortunately, we did have a student that was arrested for making a threat to our school. This is a growing phenomenon across the United States where threats are being shared on social media, through phone conversations, or in person. And people are concerned and scared. I mean, I'm concerned and scared as a superintendent. I don't want to be the superintendent with the school shooting. I know Chief Cochran does not want to be the chief of police for an incident to take place. But we need to be ready. So what does that mean for us to be ready? So I thought we would kind of walk through a little bit about what our response is and how we react. One of the things that I did last Friday with the help of my communication specialist, Mrs. Betts, we put together the Franklin Minute that lasted 6 minutes, and I was reminded it's not a minute, but it was 6 minutes. But I did a public service announcement of talking to parents in the community about the threats that are going on. We need to make sure that everybody understands we're going to act swiftly, and the students are going to get in trouble. Not only are they getting in trouble at school, where they're going to be potentially expelled for 2 semesters, they're going to also receive legal trouble where they're getting arrested and juvenile detention, some of those things. And those are the partnerships that we need to work together to make sure everybody understands we're not taking this as a joke, and it's not something funny to try to get out of school. We're just not going to tolerate that. So when we get a response, what happens? Mr. Betts is going to step up and talk just a little bit about that response, and I'm going to come back at the very end here.
I'm going to tell Kirby to jump in anytime he wants to as well on these, because we've worked quite a bit, and I want to reiterate what Dr. Clendenning said. The partnership we have with FPD has been phenomenal, and seeing it firsthand and getting to work through these has been just absolutely great with our school corporation and the Franklin Police Department. To go along with what Dr. Clendenning said, I think a lot of this starts every summer. The school corporations in our county get together with county agencies, and we do training at a school corporation within our county on responding to active shooters and all of those different ways that it could be done. And it's really neat to see all the different agencies come together and see how Johnson County is a little bit different. If you ever get the chance to go to that, seeing them respond and how they respond and the cooperation between different agencies is really remarkable. So just Johnson County in general is a little bit different than most other places, I think, maybe in the state and nation when you come here and look at how we work together. So back to where we were with our threats, it's easy to say, how do you respond? It's hard to tell you how we respond because each one is different. The one thing I can tell you that happens more than anything is the quickness of response by the schools and by FPD. As soon as we find something, we have different ways to find those out. Sometimes they're done by rumors in schools. Sometimes it could go through our Stop It app, which is an anonymous reporting tool that we have in our school corporation that kids can submit things that are either threats, suicidal ideation, bullying, anything going on that is bothering them in the school corporation. So we can get those. We can get a phone call. We can get an email. Last Friday, Chief Cochran called us right away when they had one that happened outside of school. And so the start of them is all different. I don't know that many of them are the same. The one thing I do know that is the same is how quickly the reaction happens and how quickly we start to work them together. So once we get those, we're working those and trying to figure out where it came from. Anything we can find out, names of people, social media platforms it came from. One of the things that has changed I've been in education for a couple days now. My beard used to be dark. It's all a little gray now. It's not you guys as kids, I promise. I like you guys. But when we first started out and we had social media, it was really hard to get those social media companies to work with us and help us out to find out where these threats came from. If I start going too long, tell me, because I could talk about this one for a long time, Doc. But to get where those have come from. So what's happened here recently with the seriousness of these threats is a lot of these companies, Snapchat's the one that we've noticed here recently, has changed quite a bit. I know a few years ago, it would be like pulling teeth to get anything from them, and it may be days, weeks, months before you got anything. One of our last ones, we had stuff within 30 minutes, hour, back from them. They're starting to realize that we need to make sure these things are taken care of and taken care of swiftly so that we can act on them. So once we find those out, it then becomes a collaboration. And what we've learned through this is the quicker we can respond and take care of things, the better it is for everyone. We know people want to know things right away. The hard part is we have to work that situation and make sure everything's safe before we can put things out. Some of the things we've done early on in my time here, we probably called each other 75 times within an hour sometimes, and it got real chaotic. You could have someone talking to you here, Kirby calling you, someone else texting you, and a detective. So we started a group text message with all the people that are involved so that everyone has the same information at one time. So if someone gets a threat, we are automatically going through putting all the key players in so that we all have the information in real time as we're going through it and keeping each other in communication. That's our school officials, our actual school administration, wherever that threat might have originated with the student from their building, as well as central office administration and FPD and our detectives that are going through. Now, that doesn't mean we're not calling each other as well. That still happens. You might be reading a text and see a detective's name or chief's number come up, but that's okay too. We want to make sure we're doing everything we possibly can throughout that entire time to make sure we alleviate that threat and make sure it's either not a real threat or that we validate it and treat it that way as we move forward too. And again, I will tell you, working with FPD has been fantastic in working through these situations, and the speed that we get these taken care of so far has been just absolutely phenomenal. And the reaction time to make sure our kids and our community are safe, because some of them happen before a football game when you're about to put a few thousand people into an arena or in a stadium there to make sure everybody's safe as they're walking in. It could happen during school time, after school time, and making sure we get those kids that are responsible for those threats down to the office or out of the building as quickly as possible, and their parents contacted and searching these and making sure we're taking care of them, like I said, as quickly and swiftly as possible for everyone's safety. Chief, did I miss much there?
I think the whole TikTok misconception about it originally was that you couldn't grab the data that was sent out. Kids had this misnomer that if you send something via TikTok, it disappears. So keep that in mind. If you send a TikTok, it does not. We can't get it.
Yeah.
In this case, I would say we got it probably less than 15 minutes, but it took us a little bit more time to get to the target.
Right.
Because we have so many other obstacles, and I just say that on behalf of myself and the Deputy Chief, the partnership's been great. The tech group was phenomenal. Bigger than that. When those things happen, it's pretty much all hands on deck until it's from start to finish. So kudos to all of my staff, especially investigations. I mean, they're beating down trees, and in the city of Franklin, we're doing 18,000 calls per year. So when you look at something like this, it ties up all the man hours. We appreciate the partnership to be able to get it resolved quickly, because these are the things that keep me up at night, along with everybody else.
I would also like to thank the department. When we have these, we always like to ask, I feel like we're always asking, can we have more presence at the school the next morning, just to kind of help put people's minds at ease, or at a football game. And I think usually that text gets answered back within a couple seconds. Not a problem. We'll have people there. Then later on, it might be, how many do you want? And my answer, Kirby would probably laugh, as many as you have is what I usually answer. And then he lets me know the real number after that. And that's all right. And it's just been a really good cooperative program to work together. The other group, I will tell you that as we've worked through them so far, in my time here. I think parents are starting to see the seriousness of this as well. And the parents that we've had that have gone through these processes with us as we've searched out and investigated these different threats have all been very forthcoming and very cooperative as well, trying to make sure that everything's taken care of and the kids in our community are safe. Thank you.
On communication, I just want to kind of hit a couple highlights. Number one, we cannot answer in real time. It's just not feasible, nor do we want to. And when we look to share information, the chief and I are getting a chance to look at that and representing the different organizations, and then final approval comes from the chief and myself on those things. It's not Franklin Chat that will be sharing this information. So if someone says something on Franklin Chat, please know that Chief Cochran, nor Dr. Clendenning, or Dr. Worland, or Mr. Betts, or Mrs. Best signified that's where it's going. Listen, we understand people want to know. We get that. We also want to make sure everybody's safe and we have all the correct information in this space. So that's what I said on Friday, and we'll continue to work on that. The football incident's a good example. And within a 2.5-hour window, we gave out 2 separate communications to parents about what was going on in the community. And that was a quick response to what we were doing, I felt like. But I know people want to know in general. But just please know that we're trying to get out information in as quickly as possible. And if something does happen, we know that communication is going to also be really slow to get out. So please, people, have patience with us in that regard. I would agree it's a great partnership. And I want to thank the mayor. You know, we receive 2 officers from the city every single day at CBIS and at Northwood as part of their regular assignment. And it's a blessing to have them there. They get a lot of hugs, probably a lot more than they would get on the street. But it is a great service. So I want to say thank you, because that doesn't happen, once again, in many places. And then I know Sheriff Burgess is not here, but they give us our police powers for our 4 SROs. And we continue to work well together. So I just want to publicly thank the mayor and the chief for those officers. So that's our response to safety and how we deal with threats. And if anyone has any questions, we'll be glad to take them at this time on that concept or thought.
No questions, but just again, on behalf of the school board, Chief, you and your officers, we want to say thank you. I know I've had parents reach out and say, because of that quick response, that partnership that we have, you're adding to that calmness back for them, so they know that their kids are safe when they're coming into school. So we want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll turn it back over to the city.
Thank you. Looks like announcements and public comments. Is there any announcements to make? Any announcements anyone has? Public comments?
If I could. I miss being up here.
Yeah,
no,
of course.
actually, I want to thank 2 of our board members, because this will be the last time that they'll be with us for this meeting. Mr. Wirtz is finishing after 12 years with us. And one thing about me, I wish I didn't, but sometimes I get choked up. I hate it. I wish I could not do that, but I do get choked up when I'm passionate about something and how much people love our school. And these 2 gentlemen do. So Mr. Wirtz he's going off after 12 years, so I want to publicly thank Brian for his time with us, and he's been able to see a lot. And then Mr. Lamb is also elected not to run again, so he's been with us for 8 years. So I want to publicly thank them for all they've done for our school district.
Is there any other public comments? Yes, sir. Chief?
Fire Chief Snyder. I just want to thank the school corporation for letting us have the Earlywood project building. We're going to use it for training. The fire department will. We're going to actually do active shooter drills in there, how we would respond. We're going to have some SWAT guys come in with us, lead us through how they would clear the building. And my guys are going to go and do training in the building before it gets tore down. I just want to thank the school corporation for that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chief. Anyone else? There a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Everyone have a great night. Thank you for coming.